Welcome to the Buried Truth, where we uncover the chilling stories hidden just beneath the surface of everyday life. Tonight, we delve into a case that began with something as ordinary as a broken taillight but unraveled a story of obsession, deceit, and ultimately, murder. It's a stark reminder that sometimes, the most monstrous secrets are concealed behind the most unremarkable faces. It was a cold, crisp evening, in a quiet American suburb. The kind of night where the biggest excitement is usually the glow of television screens through living room windows. But for two police officers on patrol, that night was about to take a turn they never expected. They spotted a sedan with a broken taillight, a minor infraction, a routine stop. They flicked on their lights, and the car pulled over without any issue. The driver, a 32-year-old man named Evan Brooks, seemed perfectly calm. He was polite, cooperative, and had his license and registration ready. On the surface, he was just an average guy, maybe a little annoyed about getting a ticket. He worked as a delivery driver, a familiar face in the community. Nothing about him screamed danger, but experienced officers often develop a sixth sense, an ability to notice the tiny details that just don't add up. As they continued their conversation, they saw it. Evan's hands, resting on the steering wheel, had a slight but persistent tremble. His eyes darted nervously towards his rearview mirror. His answers to their standard questions felt just a bit too polished, a little too rehearsed, as if he'd practiced them in his head 100 times. It was the kind of subtle anxiety that could mean anything or nothing at all. But it was enough to make the officers pause. Something felt off. Following their instincts, one of the officers asked a standard question. "Sir, would you mind if we took a look inside your vehicle?" For most people, it's an inconvenience. For Evan Brooks, it was a question that shattered his carefully constructed world. His cooperative demeanor vanished. A wave of panic flashed across his face before he could mask it. He hesitated. "Why? Is there a problem?" he asked, his voice suddenly strained. That single moment of hesitation, that crack in his calm facade, was all it took. It was the red flag they were looking for. The officers knew they were onto something much bigger than a traffic violation. With Evan's reluctant consent, they proceeded to search the car. The passenger and driver areas were clean, almost unnaturally so. Then, they opened the trunk. The air suddenly grew heavy. The faint, metallic scent of bleach hung in the air, a desperate attempt to cover up something else. And there, tucked away beneath a spare tire and some old blankets, were the items that would blow this case wide open. They found a woman's jacket, a small, brightly colored purse, and inside that purse, a cell phone. A quick check of the phone's lock screen revealed a photo of a smiling young woman. The officers immediately recognized the face from a missing person bulletin that had been circulating for the past 18 days. The woman was Laura Mitchell. She had vanished without a trace, leaving her family frantic and desperate for answers. And here, in the trunk of Evan Brooks' car, were the last things she ever owned. But that wasn't all. Alongside her belongings, forensic specialists would later find microscopic traces fibers, soil, and biological evidence that painted a horrifying picture of Laura's final moments. The discovery in the trunk transformed the routine traffic stop into a major homicide investigation. Evan Brooks was taken into custody, his mask of an ordinary, friendly delivery driver completely stripped away. At the station, under the glare of interrogation room lights, the full, disturbing story began to emerge. Investigators dug deep into his life, peeling back the layers of normalcy to reveal a secret, predatory existence. By day, Evan was unremarkable. He delivered packages, smiled at customers, and went about his business without raising any suspicion. But by night, he transformed. He spent hours on online dating sites and social media, not looking for love, but for victims. He was a digital predator, meticulously crafting a charming online persona to lure in unsuspecting women. He targeted those who seemed a little lonely, a bit vulnerable, women who were looking for a genuine connection. Laura Mitchell was one of those women. She was bright, kind, and trusting. She met Evan online and, like so many others, was taken in by his seemingly sincere and attentive personality. They exchanged messages, then phone calls. He made her feel special, heard, and safe. She agreed to meet him for a date, believing she was meeting a potential partner. That trust, so freely given, would tragically cost her everything. Laura had no idea that the man she was meeting was not the person he claimed to be. She walked into a trap she could never have imagined. The investigation uncovered a chilling pattern of behavior. Evan had a history of stalking and harassing women he met online. He became obsessed, and when they rejected him or tried to pull away, his charm would curdle into something sinister. With Laura, his obsession had reached its fatal conclusion. He had meticulously planned her abduction, believing he was intelligent enough to commit the perfect crime. Court records later revealed the staggering depth of his arrogance. Evan truly believed he was smarter than everyone's, smarter than his victims, smarter than their families, and most importantly, smarter than the police. He studied criminal investigation techniques, thinking he knew how to cover his tracks. He used bleach to clean his car, disposed of evidence in multiple locations, and created a detailed alibi. He was convinced that no one would ever be able to connect him, the friendly neighborhood delivery guy, to the disappearance of Laura Mitchell. He thought he had planned for every contingency, every possibility. But he didn't plan for fate. He did unplan for a tiny piece of red plastic on the back of his car to break. He didn't plan for two sharp-eyed police officers to notice the slight tremor in his hands. He didn't plan for his own nerves to betray him at the crucial moment. One broken taillight, a detail so small and random, was the single loose thread that unraveled his entire web of lies. It was the universe's way of saying, "You are not as smart as you think." The evidence found in Evan's car, combined with digital forensics from his computer and phone, created an irrefutable case against him. He was tried and convicted for the kidnapping and murder of Laura Mitchell. For Laura's family, the verdict brought a devastating sense of closure. They had spent 80 agonizing days in a nightmare of uncertainty, fearing they would never know what happened to their beloved daughter. The chance traffic stop not only brought them answers, but also ensured that the man responsible for their pain would be held accountable. The story of Evan Brooks and Laura Mitchell is a sobering one. It's a powerful testament to the idea that no crime is perfect. Every action, no matter how carefully planned, leaves a trace. A fiber on a car mat, a digital footprint on a server, a crack in a taillight. For criminals who believe they can outsmart the system, this case serves as a chilling reminder. The truth has a way of finding its way to the light, often in the most unexpected ways. The universe has its own system of checks and balances, and eventually, every lie is exposed, and every buried truth is unearthed. Justice may be delayed, but it will not be denied. Thank you for joining us on The Buried Truth. If you found this story compelling, please consider subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the cases that remind us of the darkness that can hide in plain sight. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.